Okay, so let's get to it. I'm going to be showing you guys how I actually make these copper geometric structures here. Today we're going to be making a cube octahedron compound. So it's going to involve a lot of cuts, a lot of pipe reaming, and a lot of work. So let's get right into it. I'm going to be using these chrome pipes here, which will give it a lovely, nice, energetic finish to it. So yeah, let's get started. Let's get started. And if you'd rather skip past the building process and just want to watch me talk about the final product, go to the timestamp that is on the screen at the moment. Okay, so first I've just got on the length of the cut set up on the portal bandsaw, and because we're doing a compound object, the cube and octahedron, we're going to need two different lengths. Also, because we're using two different lengths, they need to be very, very precisely cut so that they align up properly when it's put together. If you're making something like a cube or whatever, all the edges have the same length, it's not too much of a big deal if you make them all a little bit bigger or a little bit smaller. With the cube octahedron, you've got to be very careful to make sure that they are pretty precise, within a couple of millimeters of each other. So now that it's set up, I'm going to get to cutting the first length, and then I'll show you how that's done. So here we're just cutting off the little end bit just to okay, so touching perfectly over there. So we cut this piece here. Okay, and then let's just do a check. So this is supposed to be 26.29. Perfect. Now we've just got to repeat 24 times. Right, so that's the first pipe done, only there's many more to go. Okay, so here we are done with the 24 connectors. Just to show you how it's actually going to fit together, we have the cube connector piece here, which is the corner, and then we have the octahedron connector piece here. So obviously we should be building basically an octahedron and a cube together. And there's also four-way intersecting points that will be used to actually merge the two together. So you think each of these is actually going to be half of an octahedron length, so it's going to make quite a big structure. So yeah, let's get doing the next little bit. Okie dokie, so we've got to set it up for the second length. Let's get to cutting. Yeah, boy. Yeah, boy. Should put the little bit of tissue just to make sure that it doesn't scratch the chrome whilst I'm cutting it. Helps a little bit. Well, the chrome layer is actually quite tough. You wouldn't expect it to be, but it takes a good amount to scratch it. Okay, so last cut. There we are. So I'm going to show you guys here. We now have 25 of each connector. Brilliant. 24 of each connector, sorry. Now on to the next step, which is going to be reaming the pipes to remove the sort of, burr that you can see in here, maybe. It's not the best example. Let's see if you can see it. Not zooming in for some reason. A little bit of burr that you get on the, 1 second. Tracking. Ugh, mate, why is it not fucking tracking this stupid cunt? There we are. To remove that sort of burr you have on the outside and inside of the pipe. And also to give it a little chamfer so that it will slide onto the connector pieces nicely. Okie dokie, so the next step is deburring the copper pipe. Just to make it a bit nicer and so that it fits the connectors a bit better. So what I'm using one of these tools here. You can also use one of these just regular pipe deburrers, but it just goes a lot quicker when you have the electric version. So yeah, simply just insert it, twist for a second or two, and I don't know if you're going to be able to see it on here, but you get left with a nice little chamfer on the copper pipe. So I'll do that to each end of each copper pipe, and then after I've done that, I actually use this one here just to go around the outside, just to remove any sort of burrs or whatever. So yeah, I'll get this done and get back to you in a little bit. Yay, done. Okay, so I forgot to turn the microphone on for this segment, so you're just going to have a little voiceover for now. I have no idea what I was rambling on about before, but it did look quite interesting, so it's a bit of a shame that we've lost access to that information. But anyway, what we're doing is we're just sliding the O-rings over the little connector pieces. They fit nicely into the little ridges. It's very simple to do. Got to do about 8 for each one. And there we are, there's the finished little connector. Let's go do the rest. Okay, but before we get to doing the rest of them, let me just show you a quick little thing that I've done here. So basically I've taken one of the octahedron connectors and I have drilled a hole through it and added a thread so that we can have a hook bolt running through it. This way we can just hang it up using the bolt. It's much cleaner than just running some string underneath the octahedron connector itself like I would used to do. It just adds a bit of professionalism, just makes it feel a bit nicer and look a bit nicer as well. Anyway, back to the O-rings. I don't know if you heard any of that because the mic was off. There's a new microphone I just got today, so I don't really know how to use it. So yeah, I might have lost a bit of audio there. It wasn't meant to be heard. Anyway, we've finished doing all of this. Now all of the O-rings have been put on. All you got to do now is assemble it. So let's get to doing that. I'm just going to clear some space and then we'll get right into it. Okay, so what we'll do is we'll start with we'll start by doing the corner pieces for each of them. So the cube, we'll do the corner pieces for that. What I'm doing when I'm assembling it is I'm only pushing the copper pipe halfway onto the connector. Now with this size, I'm not sure if it'll be too much of an issue, but what happens is when you make the quite small structures, if you push them all the way onto the end, it's very difficult to get the last few connectors in, just because there's not enough space to, you know, to wiggle or bend to allow the connector to fit. So by leaving it on just halfway, it means that at the end we don't really have to force and bend the structure open to get the last connectors in. So I'll go ahead and I'll do that for each of them. As you can see, the system, you just simply slide them on, give it a little twist, and there we are. So that's going to be one corner of the cube right there. We'll go around and do all of them. So yeah, that is the square connectors done. I'll just pop those over there. I'm doing it on here because otherwise I don't really want to scratch the chrome, and I don't want a lot of grass getting in the system. So now we'll go ahead and do the octahedron pieces. So hopefully I'm still in frame. As you can see, it's going to make quite a large structure, this. It's going to have a circumsphere diameter of 84 centimeters. I purposely did it this size so that it could still fit through the door, or still fit through most people's doors, because it's a bit of a pain to take apart this one because it's just got so many pieces, you know. So yeah, I did think ahead a little bit when I was doing it. Although it can be kept outside this one if you like. I'm sure the chrome will fare up pretty well against the weather conditions. The copper, it does, you know, tarnish over time, although it still functions as is, so I do keep a few of them outside. In fact, I prefer keeping them outside just because you have more space inside, you know, it doesn't take up a load of space. Especially since it's been very hot and summery here. It's nice to just go out in the garden and chill inside the meditation cube or octahedron or tetrahedron or dodecahedron or icosahedron. We have them all. we have them all. Okie dokie, so there we are. As you can see, assembly, it's not too difficult. It will get a bit more rigorous towards the end when we're trying to lock the structure together, just because, you know, that's how the structure becomes rigid. You need to put a bit of force into it. But yeah, that's that done for now. I'm going to take a few pictures and then get right back to it. Okie dokie, so now that we've got this done, all that's left is to actually start putting the structure together. So that's going to mean an octahedron with an octahedron. We can do the octahedron first and then we'll add the cube later. I haven't actually made one of these before, so I don't actually know exactly how it's going to come together. Well, I mean, I think I can figure it out, but you know, yeah, this is uncharted territory for me and for mankind. As they say, one small step for man, one giant leap for mankind. There we are. What have I done here? So that's supposed to be a cube that's going on there then, actually. Okay. That's it's a bit of a shocker. Okay, yeah, so I might as well actually assemble that now, get a bit of rigidity in the structure. Yeah, that's interesting. Ding, ding, ding. And then there'll be another cube on this side then. Another octahedron will go here. Yep. We're going to need the octahedron connectors. And I'm definitely not in half of these shots here, so I hope you sort of got to hear what I'm saying. Probably not. I need to get a videographer, that's what I need. Actually get a videographer who can film these videos for me. Because it's a bit of a shit show at the moment, I'm sure. I'm sure you'd all agree. Okie dokie, there we are. Right, so this is octahedron here, octahedron here. So I can do the other octahedron at the top here. Up there. This will be a cube here. So the structure is slightly come together, I'm sure you can probably see it. Not sure how it comes across on the camera though. These things always do look better in person. Right. Here's the other octahedron, we'll go there. Yep. And then this one. Right, last few pieces. Okie dokie. Let's move the camera back a little bit. So as you can see, it is a fucking big structure, this. To be honest, it's a bit larger than I was expecting. I hope it will fit through the door. Right, it's almost done. There's still a little bit of a loose structure at the minute, but you know, obviously none of the joints have been tightened yet. Although it is starting to get some rigidity, which is nice. Nobody wants a loose structure now, do they? No. Right. Rightio. Last little bits. So this I'm thinking is going to go above my sort of meditation pyramids, which I don't actually have at the moment, but when I do have, I'm going to go above it. I hope I'm in fucking frame again, man. I just feel like I'm not in frame. Right, last little piece then. Oh, it's got some serious weight to it, yeah. Last piece, and then what's going to happen, we're going to go around and tighten all the bits. And then the structure will be complete. So assembly is actually quite, fairly straightforward. It's really just, it does get to be a bit of a workout once you're at this stage here. But that is the completed structure, so now we've got to go ahead and finish it off. So what we do is we go all the way around the structure, gradually tightening each bit. You may have to sort of, work your way around it. You don't want to do one bit too quickly, because what will happen is it will actually start to sort of lock the other bits. These platonic solids, they are complete structures, and so actually having a connector kit that you can use to make them is actually quite a difficult thing to have, because it's hard to explain really what I'm trying to say here, but I'm sure you can get the grasp what I'm saying. They're very much complete geometry, and having a connector kit where you assemble it in this way is challenging because as you complete the structure, it can be more and more difficult to get it done. I'm just rambling now. It's a bit of a workout, this bit. Oh yeah, mate, this is looking nice. Looking good. I'm pleased with this. I haven't actually seen it myself yet. Like I said, one small step for man, one giant leap for mankind. Okay, so this one is slightly locking up a little bit. So this one's fully tightened and this one's not tightened. So the angle is a little bit off, so it's kind of difficult to get it to slide in properly now. I can just about do it, but this one's going to be a fucking problem here, mate. I can feel it. And this is what I mean, that these sort of small structures here, you don't really want to be taking them apart. I mean, you definitely can, but it is just a bit of a pain. And that's why I made sure it can fit through the door. If you've got to take this apart every time you want to take it through the door, that's going to be a pain in the ass. But wow, see, that's a really rigid structure now. It happened quite quickly. It was more rigid than I was actually expecting it to be. Right. I just realised when the conductive O-rings arrive, I'm going to have to take this thing apart. It's going to be a bit of a pain. It'll be worth it though. Right, so anyway, we're just about done. I just got quite a bit done in that short little time. That wasn't on camera. No, this is the same one that was giving me. No, that's alright. Okie dokie. Is it just this one? There we are. And that one was the one from before that was giving me a lot of grief, but you see, after I'd gone around and done all the rest of them a little bit, it went in easier, unless it was this one actually. It's actually this one here. Never mind. So what you got to do when you have one like this that's giving you a little bit of trouble, is you're going to have to undo the ones around it a little bit just to loosen it up. And then that will allow you to take it apart. Yeah. So sometimes what happens is actually the O-rings, they roll because they want applied fully straight. So I'm actually going to get okie dokie. See, I just cut out that O-ring and I loosened a few around it and now it's fine. So yeah, that's basically it. That was the last one. There's a few more little connections around that might be needing a bit more tightening. But as you can see, the structure is pretty rigid now. Rigid enough to where it holds form pretty nicely. Yeah, that looks about like it. It's got a few more bits to tighten. So assembly, I certainly wouldn't say assembly is for the faint of hearted. It can be a bit of a challenge. But again, this is a serious bit of kit, right? This is not just your everyday, it's not just your everyday knick-knack, right? So this is a serious, potent tool that commands a serious, potent carer. Someone who will actually put in the effort to assemble this beast here. Now, I do on my website sell both the connectors separately if you want to cut your own copper pipe, or I sell them with the copper pipe pre-cut into lengths and a couple of spares as well. So yeah, please be sure to go check that out if you are interested in one of these. That seems to be about it. And so there we are. Now the benefit of this system here is that you can get, pretty large structures at a relatively low cost. There's no other real way to get this type of structure in this large of a form. It just doesn't exist. This is the sort of first instance of that. So I'm very happy to be the one who came up with it. It's a real honor. And that's a real beautiful structure there. Yeah, phenomenal. As you can see, you have the cube and the octahedron intermeshed perfectly. We're very pleased with how this has turned out. So this is designed to be hung. It's quite a heavy structure. Probably weighs about 5 kilos maybe. So yeah. Energetically, it's quite an interesting one. For me, the octahedron is all about solar energy and ascended energy. And the cube is all about grounding and foundation. So for me, what I get from this is I get a real grounding of solar energy, bringing in the solar connection into this earth, you know, not just into this earth, but into your own life. Fundamental solarity. That's what I'd say about this. It's also very interesting because if you are to take all the points at which they meet and sort of remove these stellations here, we actually have the vector equilibrium shape, which is another one of my favorite geometries. So it's quite interesting how the compound of the octahedron and the cube creates a vector equilibrium shape. That is if we are to connect all the intersecting points. That's what we get. So yeah, this is going to be hung up in my room. What you could even do is you could even hang another object from here in the middle, which would be quite nice. And in fact, if I find something to do that with, I might do that. So yeah, please be sure to check this out at the Zenpire.com, and please be sure to like and subscribe because I've got plenty more videos on the way. So yeah, thank you very much for watching. This has been the King of the Zenpire, signing out. I just wanted to show you what it looks like hung up. I mean, you could hang this thing outside if you wanted to. I'm sure the chrome would give you about a couple of years before it maybe started to somewhat corrode. You know, maybe even longer, to be honest. I've really got no clue. As you can see, I keep the cube outside and I keep the octahedron, which I just moved outside. And they tend fairly well. This is the tetrahedron I've had for a while. As you can see, obviously the copper's gonna, it's gonna develop a tarnish over time. But the chrome, probably not so much. The chrome you might be able to get away with keeping outside completely unharmed. And these joints are 100% watertight, no water's getting in there. These, the connector pieces doesn't really matter too much if, that gets tarnished. So yeah, definitely an option. I'm going to be keeping this inside just because I got a place for it. And it's not so large that they can fit, but it's actually a pretty good size. So about almost 6 meters of copper pipe went into this. Wow, really is a potent structure. I really do like this one. I mean, I say that with every single one that I make, but I really do like this one. It really is nice. Oh yeah, beautiful. So I didn't really discuss how to actually use this structure here. I mean, it's the same with any sacred geometric object. It's all about open connection to the geometry. When I say open connection, I mean really opening yourself up to absorb and assimilate the light that it has to offer. So whether that is, sitting underneath it, meditating, or gazing into its structure, or standing in a state of openness in front of it. All of these methods will help you to connect with its geometry and therefore assimilate its light, of course. Some effects that it has that you might notice instantly is an increase in vitality, an increase in strength as well. A calmness, a clarity is felt also. And of course the effects do vary slightly with each geometry, although they all tend towards the same end goal, right? They all sort of have the same perspective. However, they may have each hold different sort of blessings within that end perspective. So yeah, even just sitting underneath it was enough to receive what it has to give. Again, like I was saying before, this one, the octahedron cube, for me is a foundation of solarity, a foundation of solar energy, solar living. Living as light beings, as beings that receive from the sun, receive receive light, you know. Yeah. I'm looking forward to seeing what more comes to unfold from being connected with it. So anyway, thank you for watching. Like I said before, please be sure to check them out on the Zenpire.com. We have the Cube, we have the Octahedron, we have the icosahedron, dodecahedron and tetrahedron, Merkaba, and now the Cube Octahedron. So be sure if you're interested, go get one. Thanks a lot. Peace out.